Do you know a frightfully talented family? Oozing creativity, charm, spirit, and success. The family that everyone loves, but secretly you envy and wish that you could be. Don't they just make you physically ill?
And then you look at your own family and think, why can't we be more like that family? The happy family who love each other and have everything going for them. But no, I'm stuck with the family I've got instead. I know one such family.
And they make me want to retch.
Okay, so today we are talking to our youngest ever guest on the Offstage Acting Podcast, Lois Miles, daughter of my dear old friend John Miles, and another friend and alumni guest of the Offstage Acting Podcast, actor Aimee Miles. Lois is 14 years old and has performed in at least one play a year for the last decade. She's done voice, commercials, and a lot of school and community theater. She is currently appearing as a teenage vampire on stage in the show A Sign You Are Alive at the Murphy's Creek Theater in Northern California. We talked to Lois about growing up surrounded by actors, what her ambitions for the future are, and what she finds the most fun and interesting about being a kid actor. You've never met a braver, more confident, and outgoing teenager, I'll tell you that. No surprise considering who her parents are. Speaking of parents, we also talked to John, the father of Lois and an actor in his own right. But more than his performance background, John is also well known amongst other things for his concert promotion, being a TED Talk producer, and for being the unofficial godfather of silent disco. Shh. Seriously, he basically invented that, and that's a real thing. Silent disco. Look it up. We get to know how John used his experience in theater to become a successful entrepreneur, and we reminisce about the good old days when I cast John to play the lead in my senior thesis play, The Mad Dog Blues by Sam Shepard. By all accounts, a great show. So, lock the doors and turn out the lights, because this is our spooktacular Halloween episode here at
Offstage acting.
It was the mash. It was the monster mash. The monster mash. It was a graveyard smash.
It was a mash.
Went by in a flash. Ooh. Spooktacular.
Spooky.
Welcome and happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween,
Ooh. You're on the Offstage Acting Podcast.
Absolutely right.
Spooktacular, first Halloween edition. We've got some special surprises for you in store on the Offstage Acting Podcast. Oh.
Wow, you got that voice down, Hot Toddy.
Thank you. I love your, can you describe your costume?
I'm veiled.
Yes.
I'm veiled, some might say.
You're actually not veiled, but that's all right.
Well, with I think it's like veil-esque, right? Like it's what you use to make veil. Maybe that's what I mean to say. Gossamer, a
Right.
gossamer hood with big sunglasses, and I think I look like a grieving widow. This is funeral chic, I think.
Funeral
This is
chic.
what one would wear at a very dramatic, this is like dramatic dress at a funeral. What happened to my husband who deceased? Nobody knows.
And do you make sounds
nobody
with
will
that,
know.
or do you just sniffle, like grab a tissue and you go,
Yeah, you grab a tissue and like every time someone responds to you, you go, and you like grab your veil as if to
Right.
like hold it close to your heart, but really you're hiding the knife under.
beautiful. You look like a Sicilian, like you could be in the Godfather movie, because the
Thank you
beard
so much.
makes you
Thank
look
you so
like
much.
you're an Italian wife of sorts. That's not to denigrate the Italians,
You sure?
but it does sound like it is. Ask me about my costume.
I was just about to do
Okay,
that. What
thank
is
you.
that hat?
I have no idea.
Y-
I have no idea.
yes.
It's a bucket hat, and I thought it looked. I am a human satellite dish.
You are it's like a mixture between like a pilgrim
Yeah.
and a Chef Boyardee chef's hat,
Like a chef's hat. Yeah.
but
It's
black.
actually I'm a dead sailor.
You're a dead sailor.
Yeah, I'm a dead sailor. Let's call it that.
Okay, I do. Okay.
Woo-wee-oo.
With
That's not that's not the sound sailors. But
Happy
anyways,
Halloween,
happy
children.
Halloween, everybody. Woo. There. Okay. So you feel free to take the costume off at any time. Although I do kind of
The
I dig it.
sunglasses. I'm getting into it. So, how are
We
you?
have I'm good. How are you?
Great, thanks.
Great. Let's jump into it. We got an extra special
it.
show here.
Love it.
We got a special Halloween guest. We are
Uh-huh.
going to interview today, for the first time ever,
Oh.
a miner.
Oh my gosh! Really?
Someone who works in mines.
In a mine.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
We have not had any. I have so many
Haven't had any
pickaxe-related
miners.
work questions.
Yeah, there's going to be tons. Is it diamonds? Is it gold? We don't know.
How they handle OSHA safety request, OSHA.
Good question. Are you writing these down?
Safety Union.
Not that kind of miner, Jay. Oh,
Oh,
a miner, underage. We're gonna interview a child actor. A child, I say
Wow.
child, teenager, the youngest guest on our podcast so far.
yeah, wow. I mean, they could be like 40 and it'd be our youngest guest at this point. but-
Ouch! We've had some people under the age of 40. Not many. You're right. To be fair, it's time to get a little.
great.
It is time
Cool, that's great.
to get a little youth influx in here.
Yes.
And it's good friend. Remember Aimee Miles, guest of ours?
Of
We had
course I remember Aimee.
a wonderful
The
guest.
Loved her. Really did.
Lovely and talented. Yes, we got a lot of good feedback from her.
Yeah, I'm taking
on-
my sunglasses off, so like it is known. You see my eyes when I say.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
You're leaving the veil on though. It's not a veil.
Maybe
but
soon it'll like go backwards.
it might just
more,
start to slip. Yeah.
so they'll undress like a Sicilian mobster
and wife,
housewife.
like
Okay,
from
I'm sorry.
the yeah. Aimee Miles' daughter is with us here.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and she's been acting from a wee tot, from a wee young age. Her father's with us too, but largely we'll ignore him. But
Rude.
because she's underage, I just thought, well, for safety's sake, we'll bring him in. But if he gets annoying, we can cut him out.
Great.
Her father is a dear old friend of mine, John Miles. Props to Johnny. He was once upon a time an actor as well.
Okay.
But as happens in life, when people start off doing a bit of acting, they realize that they have no capacity for it, no talent for it, no drive for it. And
So then you make a podcast.
and then they go into other fields, and then we invite them on the show to talk about at what point in their life things crashed and burned. And so we might talk to John a little bit about that as
Really
well.
set it up.
But before we embarrass him in that regard, let's check out Lois. I got a little clip. Lois is in a Halloween show, so it's kind of in theme. It's in keeping with our Halloween theme.
Love it.
Yeah. And I should say, actually, John was in one of my shows that I directed years ago called Mad Dog Blues. So
Oh, you've brought that up before.
yeah, we'll talk to him about that.
Cool.
And maybe we'll even have a little surprise there. But okay, without further ado, here we have Lois in her. I've got some clips from her. It's community theater. It's a little show.
Okay.
I forgot the name of it, but it's Halloween, and she plays a little vampire. So let's have some fun with that. Are you
I'm ready.
you ready? Am
Yes,
I ready? The question is,
are
am
you
I
ready?
I'm ready. Here we go. Here we go. Starts out a little dark.
Don't sing if you want to live long. May have no
stays a little
use
dark.
for your song. You're dead, you're dead, you're dead. You're dead and out of this world.
Somebody's at the door. She's like a vampire. I don't know. She'll have to tell us. And then somebody comes to the door, and then
I'm just
Here's
asking
this
you to
scene.
pace yourself.
Here they are. Let's bring them on. What happened to John? He left. Where'd
He's
he
in
go?
in the bathroom.
He's in the bathroom. Quite literally.
I don't know
Wow.
why he left right now.
Okay. Well, here she is. Lois Miles and her completely useless father, I swear. Wow. You picked now to go to the bathroom, John?
Dude, I drank so much coffee.
Oh, goodness. Well, I guess.
It's early here.
What time is it there, sweetheart?
6:25.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Yeah, we woke up at 5.
We do appreciate you being available to us. Welcome to the show. Can you get a little bit more centered on camera, John?
Yeah.
God. There you go. Ooh. Once he's out of the... Okay, Lois, let's start with you, sweetheart, because your father
right.
has just lost the plot.
I thought you were going to start with me.
No, I changed.
No,
I
yeah.
changed that. That whole situation changed when you decided to go to the bathroom in the middle of it.
One bathroom break and I get cut again.
Lois, tell us about this show, first of all. Let's start with that.
So the premise is basically a teenager, kind of classic teenager turns into a vampire, but it's during a vampire epidemic actually.
Oh.
And yeah. And so her dad doesn't know much about vampires, but she's like a kind of goth vampire obsessed teenager. So her room is all the Twilight posters, and she has like Twilight shirts, and she's like memorized she's memorized the Twilight movie. She's basically obsessed with vampires. And but her dad doesn't know how to deal with it. And so he suggests that to essentially like figure out what's going on with her and how to help her, they binge watch a bunch of vampire movies. And so it's like, yeah, she's like this moody teenager, and during this like hard time in their life, they're like bonding over binging vampire movies. And then there's a plot twist at the end. So if you come to see it, you'll see that plot twist.
Well, you want to do spoiler alert? Because they're in the UK. They probably won't go see it.
Yeah, but our listeners. Yeah, but the
Your
listeners.
if you,
True.
yeah, because we're gonna. When does the show open? It's opening now. Is it open? Is it?
It's been open. Yeah, it opened October 11th. So it's been open for a while.
And is that the lead role?
Yes, it is. It's a 3-actor play. So there's the neighbor that comes in to kind of check in on them every once in a while. Then there's the father, and then there's Chelsea, the teenager.
Okay,
Cool.
that sounds
Yeah.
really good. You're having fun with it.
Yeah, it's fun. And I'm actually double cast. So one of my best friends, Zoe, is double cast as Chelsea, the lead role with me, which is fun.
Oh, that's
so
great.
cool.
Yeah, we get to share the role.
Oh, okay. So you don't have all the burden on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like twins, like when they used to have to cast twins so they wouldn't overwork them.
Yeah.
I'm asking Lois. Wow. Jesus, he just can't wait to get on the canny.
Mm-mm.
John and I go way back. So, audiences, don't judge the relationship that John and I have. It'll make no sense to anyone. So, Lois, have you worked for this theater company before?
Yes, I have. This is my first professional show with them, but I've done their youth program 2 times. I played my first show with them. I played Hero and Dogberry in Much Ado About Nothing, and I also very contrasted roles. And then I played Titania and Hippolyta in Midsummer Night's Dream. Those are really fun roles.
Very challenging too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love
Yeah.
Shakespeare. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really fun.
At what age did you feel like you kind of got bitten by the acting bug? And
Well,
you knew that you wanted to kind of do more.
my first acting experience, I don't remember. I was 6 months, and it was a Logitech commercial. It was 2010, so it was when video chat was pretty new, and I was doing it with my mom, and I was like just playing the little baby on her lap, FaceTiming the grandparents. But the first one that I remember, and my first onstage acting experience was the Noble Narble with Fog Theater in San Francisco. It was a new play. It was really fun. It's basically about a bunch of made up sea creatures, which was, yeah. I was a little chorus role, but it was fun.
When did you kind of recognize that you understand that your mother and to some degree, your father, were actors. Like, when did that register with you? Do you remember?
I don't necessarily remember a specific moment. I guess.
Did you see your mother like on television or hear something, or they said, "Hey, boy, this is mommy,"
Yeah.
and you kind of like did one of these, like what?
I mean, both of them have been acting since like before I was born. So I don't I don't specifically remember like a moment that it kind of like sort of happened. I guess it was just kind of like people ask you, "Oh, what does your mom do?" Like, "Oh, she's an actress." It's just kind of always like a part of my life. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because my daughter is 12 and my other daughter's 8, and they sort of. I remember my older daughter was at some point she recognized that I was. She saw me on television in some program or something completely on her own. She was watching on her own pad, so it sort of registered like, oh, my dad is this thing. She come downstairs and was like, "Daddy, you're a cowboy," and I didn't know what she was talking about. I'm like, "Yo, thanks. Yeah, I kind of am a cowboy." And she was like, I guess 4 years old. She goes, "No," and she was like confused, and she's like, "But I saw you on this thing," and pointing to her pad and like little children's program I had done years ago. So there's kind of that moment, but she still, I think, struggles to really understand what it is I actually do. So I was just curious if you recognized at some point, like, oh, my mom is like off to work now to do her thing, because we know that Aimee's quite busy.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of voice. And you did some voice, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. My first voice, can't remember that, but I do a lot. My mom has a little recording booth actually in her closet, and so I do a lot of little voiceover commercials from there.
Yeah.
And I also did scratch track for Pixar. I did a scratch track for Coco. So I voiced young Mama Coco, when she was singing to her dad.
For audiences that don't know, explain
Scratch
what a
track?
scratch track
Yeah.
is. Oh, Jay doesn't even know. Okay. So explain it to Jay.
So a scratch track is it's basically what the animators record to. So they don't bring in like the actors are going to be in the final product immediately. Yeah. So they took my voice. When I was 5, I went to Pixar and I recorded a scratch track, and I was singing "Remember Me," and they took my voice and they animated everything to that, and then they plug in the other the professional vocals. Yeah. Yeah. So that was a fun experience. Pixar is a really cool place to visit. They have all the little statues of all the different movies there. It's really cool. Yeah.
So talk us through the whole thing. What's the goal for a young girl like yourself who is doing a bit of acting and has had some kind of success at school and now is out there in the public? What's the goal? What's the dream? Are you looking to make this a career, or are you just kind of having fun?
Great question.
I would like to have this be a career, but I do have other interests. Like I'm also a musician. I perform around our town, and I think if I were to get into the arts, I'd like to start with music, and I think that could like lead me to more acting gigs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're more like just kind of a creative talent, and
What do you
you
play?
I play guitar and I sing. Yeah.
right. Nice. Well, I remember that you used to beatbox.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the two of you.
Let's start. Go deep start about beatbox.
Do it again.
Teach the boots and cash.
That is my daughter at age 3 and Lois at age 5.
Whoa, awesome, bro.
Also, there was this.
Oh, which is the fox.
Quite the dancer.
Oh, down.
Wow.
If you're watching this, if you're listening, that's Lois at 5 and Star at 3.
She had her
Dancing.
choreographed dance to this.
I got a bunch of that stuff.
That's so
I took
good.
those videos. You don't
Got
remember
in there.
any of that, do you?
No, I don't.
You don't remember when we came to visit you in San Francisco,
That's
and
so funny.
you and my little daughter, got
Got down
to what the fuck say, tick, 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 and she had a blast. You guys both had fun. Here's a little,
Yeah, that was fun.
It's like a little fun. There you go. You can watch that for a second without the sound. Okay, so I want to move to your old man just for a second.
Okay.
How proud are you of your baby girl, John?
Oh man, very. It's as a dad, it's just been incredible just to watch her grow into the arts, and as parents, like we've always had open conversations about not wanting to push like what as an actor, you always go into that, you get insecure about saying like, well, are we pushing, are we projecting here? Are we pushing this onto our daughter and everything? So like, for example, for music, we just have a piano and we have guitars laying around, and I don't care how, grab a guitar, do whatever you want to do, and that's been pretty cool for both kids because they just will pick up an instrument and start to play. Aimee, my wife, I was always, she just has theater going, and Lois is just always on the stage. I mean, and as a director of children's theater, she always had the opportunity to get on, but then she was just always got on and always shined. And I think the really cool thing I loved watching is just how courageous she is. Like, she goes downtown, a little town on Main Street, and will perform, do like 3 hours of performing. That's how she makes her money. And by the way, that's her day job, where she'll make like $200 in a very short amount of time. Yeah, I'm very proud.
In the community theater that you have there.
The community theater, she's very active in it. Not only is it just being an actor, but she just was like, oh, I want to go usher, so, we're having dinner. She's like, hey, can you take me to the theater? I want to go help them out. They need help, like striking the stage. So we're really fortunate. We moved from San Francisco. We're out in the country. The population here is about 2,500 in an old former gold rush town at the foot of the Sierras. But she's been able to really shine and everything else. It's been really, really amazing. And then everything else. But so yeah, I think proud is probably an understatement.
Right.
I'm like getting teary.
Yeah, it's really cool to kind of pass the torch in a way. Like, I think there is a selfish aspect of it, and I always have to hold myself back from being like, come on, go sing that song, come on, go do that, but
the pushy backstage dad, right?
Yeah, the dad.
He has an alter ego. Yeah. He does. He has this little voice he makes. Yeah. Whenever I go to,
Lois, get on the stage. Get away right now. Stop it. I'm channeling my theater actor in my theater teacher in high school was Mr. Chippino. So
is that his name? Is that the name of your character?
I don't know. We don't have a name of the Dadinger, the evil Dadinger, but yeah.
Evil Dadinger, that's it.
Yeah. But as you know, I wasn't acting, and I went over into the music industry where I just felt better suited. But so it's nice to kind of just see her grow in this field. And I know watching her, like, just kind of an alien how talented she is, and then she just gets on skis and she rips skiing. She just kind of outran me in every freaking aspect of the game. She's better at acting than I ever was. She's a better musician than I ever was. Better skier. It's just like, dude, really? So that
better keeping her mouth clean.
Not really. No, she at this stage she starts now.
I wonder where she gets it from. Where does she get it from?
No, she was on this play and she was dropping F-bombs. So I'm like, oh well, I guess it's out now. I guess we get the test together. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes
sense. Yeah.
Are you living vicariously through your daughter then?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I try to
think it's
reel that
obvious.
in, but yeah. But
All
you know,
those crushed hopes and dreams of yours now can be
yeah,
relived.
and as you know, Todd, from knowing me when I was younger, she did steal my hair, which that was
Yeah,
the
she's got a beautiful.
final thing.
You used to have beautiful hair, and
Yeah,
now
and she stole it,
she's
and
got it.
what was left crept down and is now living in my butt. You know, and there's that. You know,
I remember your butt.
yeah, I know.
In fact, the
There's
first time I met you, this is a terrible story. Never
just
mind.
okay. We pretty much knows everything.
You passed gas backstage when we
Oh
were
yeah,
going
I was
on for the
nervous.
Tempest. You were super nervous. We were going on for the Tempest. Johnny showed up with a couple other guys, Matt Filoon, and they were playing the Sailors in the Tempest. And we just kind of met them, and they were thrown in there. These guys are going to be playing the Sailors, new to the school. Okay, cool. And then we were all backstage waiting to go on, and he cracked a fart. He's like, "Oh, sorry," and it smelled, if I may, it smelled like talcum powder. And at that point, I went, "Who
There's
the
a
hell
story
steals?
behind that.
Who wears talcum powder? Why are you wearing? Why does your fart smell like talcum powder?" And this was like moments before he goes on, and then John understood who he was dealing with, and he goes, "Oh, okay, the new guy gets razzed
Oh yeah,
by the theater dudes. Okay, I get it."
yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, "Yeah,
And
now you
I
know."
was the problem was I had gas and I was so scared of passing gas because I knew I was around like
Yeah,
these really
new
feisty
guys and
I was a new guy.
guys that
And
weren't
so
going to leave you
I
alone for it, right?
yeah, so I went to the store and I got some baby talcum powder thinking if
Yeah.
I pass gas it's gonna smell good. And it did. But then of course Todd was like, "You smell like baby diarrhea, man. You smell like baby farts." And I cleared the backstage that day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
And
I knew
that
I was
was
in the
his
gang.
introduction. And he was, yeah, you were jumped into the theater gang, and we were pretty
Yeah.
tough. I got to be honest, we were pretty tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lois,
Although
have
there
you got some theater friends that are tough? Have you
Not
got your
really.
little crew? But have you got a little crew
Yeah.
friends? You mentioned your friend that you do dual
Yeah.
roles with.
Yeah, I'm probably closest with her, and then I have some friends in my I'm in drama class at my high school, Bret Hart. So
Oh,
I have some
good.
friends in there. Yeah,
Is it a good
that's fun.
program?
It's a really good program.
You got like a proper theater there at school?
Yeah, we actually have a really nice auditorium.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
You're not
Mhm.
doing stuff on the basketball court
No.
like we used to have to
No.
do. Right?
yeah, multi-purpose room for me.
Right, that was me. I had the
Cafeteria
multi-purpose
stage.
room. Yeah,
and
cafeteria stage. Yeah.
and then you leave the school, and 4 years later,
They
somebody
build a
gives you
massive. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
exactly what happened. They
Yeah.
go, oh my god, a beautiful 300-seat theater with a proscenium and the works. But so you've got a nice setup there, yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's a
Really
really
nice
good
theater.
theater. Yeah.
What apart from the Coco thing? Because I know your mother also worked on that. Have you worked
Mhm.
with her at all? And the baby. What was the commercial you did when you were a baby? I guess?
She didn't. She didn't work on Coco, I don't think.
Oh no.
But
Okay.
I have done. We did actually an Xfinity commercial when I was 5. We did that all together as a family.
Aw.
And yeah, my mom was pregnant with my brother, and my dad was in it, and I was in it when I was 5.
I still act, Todd. I was the dad.
Act like a. Right.
I had to close
Fill
the
it
door.
blank.
It was very hard. I had to close the door, and I
We're-
blew that so many times.
I won't. We definitely. I'm conscious that we've lost little times, and Lois is gonna have to go to school soon.
No,
We've
it's all
got
about
her-
me right now.
We got
It's
her
all
up
about me.
early, and so we're gonna get back to you, John. Don't worry. We've got lots of surprises in store for
I'm
John.
really tired of it being all about Lois.
I know it's. I know. This is what happens when
tired of this.
Get used to it.
when the
I know.
youth outshines their parents. That's why I wanted to have both of you on, because I wanted to get this dichotomy. I wanted audiences to understand that there is a time when a father needs to step aside and let the children
Sure.
shine. And as a father of 2 talented, beautiful daughters myself, I am learning to do it. It's not easy. I don't want to do it. I don't feel it's fair. But at some point, enough is enough.
Well, I
It
think
looks
like with like the way because Amy's still very active, and
Yeah.
and I think they just kind of work together, and they help each other. Like even last night, I was going to bed and I hear them talking about the podcast, and she's such an
Yeah.
amazing
She helped me make a little.
coach and everything.
So
She's
confusing with the reverse camera. She helped me make a little
a
mini
little
biography.
list.
Yeah, it's like
Little
a
Not very
list
little.
of all. Oh my gosh.
all your
so
all your
confusing. I hate
accomplishments.
this.
What does it say?
Yes.
What does your list say? What have we missed? Let's go through it.
Oh, there's a lot. I've been in a play every year of my life since I was 4. So there's a lot. I've been at
That's
least
a
one.
decade. You have a
Yes.
decade of experience.
Yes, except for 10, which was COVID year. But I have
Right.
many plays.
We ignore that.
Yeah.
What was your favorite? Well, like, what's your kind of favorite? What if you feel that you have a specialty, your niche? Comedy,
Um,
drama, Shakespeare,
I love playing
modern.
dog. I love playing dog. I love Shakespeare. Shakespeare's really fun
Hmm.
because I feel like I don't know. Yeah, I really like Shakespeare. I love playing Dogberry. That was a really fun role.
Such a
And
good role.
yeah, Hera was fun too, but she doesn't really talk that much. So that was
Right.
good though. That was a challenge. I like that. That those roles challenged me because I don't know. I have a hard time being on stage and not talking, but still being on the scene. So that role really helped me with that.
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You got to take the, I don't know how to put it, the good with the bad, I guess. No
Yeah.
small parts, only small
Physical,
actors.
your physicality, your presence.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was a great role to work on that. And
But
I
you're also,
also,
yeah.
sorry.
No, I'm sorry. You go. No, you go.
I also really like playing, I was in Animal Farm for my 8th grade
Oh,
school play. Yeah, that was
oh,
a really fun one.
that's
Yeah.
fun.
So I played Major, the old pig who gives a speech in the beginning and he just dies right off the bat. And then I played Clover, who was one of the main horses,
Right.
which was
The
fun.
one that goes to the glue farm.
No, that's Boxer. Yeah. But yeah,
Get
Clover
it right,
is
Jay.
I hate Animal Farm. Sorry, I hate Animal Farm.
it's
I
a
read it in fourth
metaphor,
grade.
by the way. It's not about
Oh, I know,
animals. Yeah, okay. Just to
but
be
it is
fair.
about animals too. We are
somewhat.
animals, Humans are animals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Todd.
We're talking to
Mhm.
Lois now. I'm trying to get as much out of her as I can.
Work.
So, how do you feel about this show? What's been how's it been received?
It is a fairly controversial show for our area because our area is like a very Christian area, and the vampires can be seen as like sort of anti-Christian, I guess. So I
Satanic.
not yeah, a little satanic. Um,
You get protesters outside.
no, not necessarily.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but I have noticed that I don't know, as the show's been going, the audience have been dwindling a little bit, and I wonder if that might have been from reviews about like that
Hmm.
aspect of the show.
Really? Has it been? You've been getting a little bit negative publicity over this.
Possibly. I'm not
It's just
sure.
a fun. What's the name of the show again?
A Sign You Were Alive.
A Sign You're Alive. Yes.
Yeah.
How many more? Let's see. It started. You started. When did it open?
It opened October 11th and it's closing on November 3rd.
Well, that's a lot of shows. Is it?
Yeah, it is a lot of shows.
Yeah.
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 hmm
How was the opening night?
So I wasn't my counterpart did the opening night, but
You do the closing.
yes, I think I'm gonna do the
Closes
closing.
it out.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, I heard she did a good job. I wasn't there. I was at a water polo tournament. But
So you do sports. You do skiing or
yeah,
snowboarding.
skiing. I'm a ski racer.
Ski racer. Wow, amazing.
Yes, yeah. And then I also do water polo, and I'm gonna start swim in the spring to condition for water polo.
Just like your father and mother, couple
Yep.
overachievers. Man. Now, do you ever see yourself kind of getting down to LA and doing that scene and trying your luck in Hollywood?
Possibly. I mean, I feel like when I moved down to LA, it's kind of overwhelming, because there's so many other actors like trying to do exactly what I'm doing, which I feel like would be overwhelming. But
Yeah,
yeah.
but it seems like you're going in with a lot of experience
Mhm.
on camera, on stage, and I mean, keeping it up. So it's definitely,
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a shot, and with two
Mhm.
great parents behind you, well, especially Aimee. I mean, one great parent, and John, your father, to to guide you, to guide you and support you along the way.
Yeah.
John's
Never
good. You know why John's good? Your father he's an excellent driver.
Yeah. Point A to point B. That's
Yeah.
what
Boom.
It's my
Point A to
chauffeur.
point B.
I'm just carry and follow. That's what I do. Carry and
Perfect.
follow. I'm a
Yeah.
dad. That's what
Got the
dads do.
bags. You got the bags, Dad? Yeah, I'm right behind you. I got
Just
your
kidding.
bag. Yeah.
Where we going, Lois? Where we going? Yeah.
Where we going? I'll be up. I'll wait for you outside. Shall I wait for you in the bleachers? I'll be up in the bleachers.
I want
Just
to be
wait.
like Snoop Dogg's like uncle, just followed him around on tour. That's what I'm gonna be. I'm gonna retire and just be
Yeah.
the weird dad.
The
And be
kind
like,
of-
can I introduce you again? Like that's what I want to be.
Yeah. And guess who I just met coming back with like a sandwich from the craft services table, and look who I just met. I wouldn't believe I just met Willem Dafoe back there. He's 100 years old. And she's like, Dad, don't bother the other actors. He's like, oh, it's crazy. You wouldn't believe the buffet they got over here. Yeah. And she gives you like a small salary of like 25 grand a year just to kind of
totally.
She allows you to call yourself the manager, even though everybody knows that you have
Man. Remind me, I have some funny stories about being that guy with Aimee. I'll tell you.
Oh,
really
good.
Funny
Okay.
Stories.
Well, Lois, is there anything else you want to tell the folks? Anything else you want to share?
Not much. Come see the show.
Nothing about me at all. No?
Come see the show.
Come see the show.
Yeah,
it is a good.
To the theater, girl.
What kind of advice do you have for young? Now we're gonna have young listeners listening to this, right? My daughter is a couple years younger than you. She's not so keen to be an actor yet, but she listens to the podcast. Other young actors, I mean, what kind of advice have you got, if any?
I'd say it seems a lot harder than it actually is to become an actor. There's so many ways that you can get involved in acting, and it seems like this whole you have to jump through all these hoops, get an agent, like all that stuff. You don't need to do that. You can start somewhere simple, like I did. I started in community theater, and if you like it, then you can pursue it. But if you have the talent for it, it's not as hard as people make it out to be. To really pursue it.
To get your start, there's plenty of outlets, isn't there? Especially I think at your age, it's much more open because you don't have an agenda. You're not trying to be professional. You just want to have fun, right?
Yeah.
And try it and see what it's all about. And if people open up, then you can find those opportunities, and then you can discover later if you want to do it. Continue. That's the thing I tell actors all the time. Is young actors especially, is that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Like you can continue. John is still an actor in my book, even though he's gone on and done a lot of other things professionally and social, with his life, his hobbies. But he's got it in him, and he's got the background of it. And
I'm not done yet. I honestly, and I say it kind of jokingly, but that's what I love about acting is that it's forever. It's the forever field you go into because you get to play older. So I would actually like to go back and do it later in life. I think I haven't quite fulfilled myself with that at all yet. I think I'm still there.
Yeah, I agree. You were good, and John, you were quite good. In fact, that's why I cast you as the lead in my senior thesis play.
You see that?
Mad Dog Blues, because I saw the potential, and I'm going to show you the potential that I saw.
Oh my God, he's got video of this? That's Matt Farman.
I don't know how much of this is going to work. Might be a little delay in it. If I can get it to fire up. But that's your father on the couch. It's not going to play. Why is it not playing? Here we go.
The needle? Don't put it down. Can't help it, I get concerned. How about you? How's your depressions? Come and go like the wind. Here today, gone tomorrow. If I could just put something together, I keep feeling like I'm getting closer and closer to the truth. That's good. It's nighttime here and all the stars are out. Jungle makes the weirdest sounds. Jaguars are running wild. Little kids are sucking on mangoes.
This is a Sam Shepard play called Mad Dog Blues.
Yes.
And we had a lot of fun. Here's a good.
You would direct the Sam.
We had a lot of music. That's your father singing to Summertime, and then when that was over, he has his little monologue here.
saw the whole world come to a dead stop. Everyone was listening.
It's hard to watch. It's not great quality, but
We didn't really have the best
I
HD
can
cameras.
Miles, or I'm up shit creek without a paddle. There's nothing like a good ox. Worth their weight.
that's Mark Tennyson playing Paul Bunyan. There we go.
Hey,
Yeah, some scenes. Woo! What'd you think of that?
That's cool. I've actually never seen him act.
You never seen him act.
No, I haven't. I've never even seen videos, I don't think. I mean, we have pictures actually from that show on our piano, but never seen
Yes.
any videos.
That's it. Those are great pictures, and he should have the poster somewhere too.
I've
Am
never
I in
seen
that
videos.
picture as well? Is that the full cast and crew picture?
No,
Or
it's
the
just that
cast
picture of me that you gave me. Remember when
Oh,
you
yeah.
visited? Yeah. And I got to get another copy because it's starting to get faded. It's just one of those funny pictures to have on the piano. People are like, "That's your dad?" Like, what the hell? You know?
And have you ever seen him with hair?
Yes, I have. I've seen many pictures of him with hair.
Pictures, yeah.
Yeah.
I was bald when
Actually,
she was
no
born.
videos, but
No
yeah, definitely
video.
pictures.
Just for fun. There he is. Full head of hair. And I cut that beard. Just for the record.
And that was kind of before people really, facial hair wasn't really much of a thing at that time. I don't know. It was very different. Like people weren't all tatted up then.
No, that's true. Well, this was supposed to be kind of the 60s vibe, so we did a whole thing with you guys. But anyway.
It was really fun to be in real life with that beard because that was fun.
Yeah, full long. I told these guys, don't shave. You're cast. Don't shave. Don't cut your hair. We're going full shaggy. And then once you have full beards, then we'll decide what to do with it. And then I cut. Filoon had kind of a goatee, Matt, and your father, I cut this weird mustache handlebar. Have we got more time with you, or you got to run?
I think we gotta go. Well,
Thank you so much
actually,
for coming on.
Lois, it's a pleasure. John, you can hang out with us for a second?
I can, yeah.
We'll wrap it up. All right, Lois, what a pleasure. We're going to check back in with you at some point. We want to find
it's a
out.
pleasure to be on the show.
Yeah, everything you're doing, and good luck with the rest of this show. Don't worry about those Christian naysayers. They don't know what theater is. They don't understand vampires. Yeah. There she goes. Lois Miles, everybody. Thank you, Lois. Bye. Johnny, we haven't talked in a while.
Yeah,
Good to see
guys,
you,
that was really cool. Thanks so much.
Great to
from like, I was telling Todd, I was telling Jay that like we stumbled upon this before. Like I knew it was yours. Like it just kind of came into my YouTube feed, my algorithm, and then Lois and I were like, listen to it. But anyway, I'm proud of you guys for this podcast. It's very, very good.
We've been getting a lot of good feedback on it. I'm really glad. When I found out you were listening, I was like, oh, that's really cool. Because actually, if I'm honest, I make the podcast for you.
You do? Thank you. I appreciate that. Because it is all about me. I mean, now that Lois is gone, I mean, Lois is like, I mean, she's good, but she's not like me. I mean,
No.
I'm the real star. I really am.
Yeah, that's
Aimee.
not what
I
I
do
meant.
opera. You know what I mean? I'm just like, whatever.
That's not what I meant. I'll explain what I meant. I make it for our sense of humor.
I know. I see that. And
that's
where I'm proud of you for it because Jay, just so you know, that is Todd. Like that's unfiltered Todd. That's what I think it's so funny about it. And I also think that like Todd's personality in college is like, wow, who is this guy? Like, it's just like, there is no freaking filter on this guy. Right. And then I was like, how, obviously I was like, oh, this really fits with acting because there's so many layers of his personality. Right. And he can just kind of shape shift, but then on the podcast, I was like, oh, that's what this like bite personality really translates into something interesting. And I'm sorry, Jay, that you're on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, I'm the punching bag. Yeah.
Yeah, and you must, that whole
price you pay.
When he went back and did your family tree or whatever, dude, I was dying. At the same point, I was like, I'm sorry, my brother Jay. I'm sorry, but you seem to have a personality that can handle Todd, and I did too. Like we had a lot of fun in college. Like we were like, just so you know, like Todd had his like like Shakespeare, like our college was divided into like the underground like black theater, black box, and that was like Todd and his friends. And then we had the guys that are on the main stage that were all doing Shakespeare and everything else. Now Todd would go back and forth, but I gravitated towards the black box because I was like, duck, Yeah, so we had it was cool and then Todd, like by the time I met them, it was Todd against like the real theater people, like and it was pretty funny
Of
because like
course.
when we were doing our show, Mad Dog Blues, they were doing help me out, some Shakespeare. It was
Nah, it wasn't Shakespeare. It was just some main stage musical thing.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so Todd was against the establishment, is what I'm trying to say. It was
The
pretty
establishment
rich.
was against me, which was unfortunate because I was actually paying to be at the university, and the chair of the department had a thing against me.
It was true. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he didn't like me either. I never was casted into that stuff, so we
Yeah.
did our own. And
Yeah.
that was my favorite part about the theater experience at Loyola Marymount, was that we just kind of were like, well, shit, man, if they're not shoot, man, I'm going to get quacked. Shoot, man, if they don't do what
They
we
don't.
want to do, let's just do our own thing,
Yeah.
and we did a lot of our own theater that way.
Hmm.
Yeah, and in fact, that show, which I just showed, in Mad Dog Blues, it was a very avant-garde piece for them at the time. There's drug use, there's rock and roll music, it's kind of there's sexual undertones in it. It's a lot of stuff that didn't quite fall into the category of Pirates of Penzance or
Yeah.
some of these other kind of Cherry Orchard. It was so it took a lot of heat for that, but we got audiences sold out. We had to do extra shows. I had people
Yep.
coming up to me, man, I've been to every show. We're going to go see it again tomorrow night. It was a loved piece. It was proper theater.
Yeah,
And there was an audience for it.
I think like what I took away, like Todd kind of went deep, and brought us to this space. And we were all I was in dance as well, and we were kind of studying like Butoh dance,
Yeah.
but we were doing like upwards of like 14-hour rehearsals back to back. And
Wow.
we would get ourselves to this state where we finally, like, it kind of messed me up afterwards because I had to pull back out of that character. And we were there was like a period of like a month where we were all lost and we had to keep kind of hanging out. Remember that time we like, can I come over to your house, buddy, and just sit there? Because it was,
Yeah.
we really went deep, and Todd took us to this, like, I don't want to say dark space, but we went deep into the belly of the beast on that. And that was like a very powerful acting experience. We even like did a trip in the desert. Remember, bro? We
Yeah.
got lost
Devil's
as
Punch
characters.
Bowl. Yeah.
And Linda Cardellini was in that too.
Linda Cardellini is in that show. A lot
Oh.
of I mean, it was a big ensemble cast. Yeah, that was Linda's first kind of gig. She always
And then she left us, went huge.
went huge. Yeah, yeah. No, the whole thing was it was a great experience. We took a lot of heat from the school, which I always took it as a good thing, but definitely Sam Shepard was worth digging deep into. And John and I were about to tell you a story off air, but we can tell you on air. We got into a fight because he was turning in a lackluster performance. This was my senior thesis piece, right? And I'm like, come on, man, you've got to. This is like, you have some big moments here, and you need to dig deep into yourself and find those points. And he's going, well, I don't know what to do, man. I'm trying. You're not. And finally, I kind of turned on him and I said, all right, now's the moment. I go, you're not trying. Maybe you're not. Maybe I picked the wrong guy. Maybe you're not worth this. Maybe you don't know what you're doing, and maybe you're not good enough as an actor. Did you ever consider that? And he was like, shit. I was saying stuff like that, and he started.
He was goading me.
I was really going. I was
in
right
my face,
in his face, poking his chest, and John's going, "Get out of my face, man! Get out of my face!" I said, "No, until you man up, whatever it was." And then I think there was John gave me like a big shove, and he was like, "I'm telling you, get out of my face, bro!" That whole moment. And then he caught the twinkle in my eye after the shove, where
no, I threw you.
You threw me against the wall, maybe, was it?
No, I threw you across the stage. I was so angry. And
yeah,
he was pretty light at that time, and
I wasn't a big guy. But I got up, and I don't know if you remember this, but there was a little bit of I cracked a bit of a smile because I was like, ooh, there it is. And then you saw the smile, and you went, but at that point, all that had to come out. So we started wrestling, I would say. It wasn't a punch up or anything like that, but it was a pretty good size, and people were like, break it up, guys. And at some point, John goes, we're just messing around.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good. We're
We're
good.
just dudes having it out.
We just had to have it out, and then we wrestled the whole thing. We went over ass over over the couch and
Yeah.
whatever else, and then we got up, brushed ourselves off. I think we went outside, smoked a cigarette or whatever we smoked back then. I don't remember, and took a chill, and went, all right, let's get back into it. And boom, after that, John was golden.
It was great. It was I mean that experience was, you know, again, like we were talking about just being angry and stuff. And we had carte blanche at that, you know, at that time and in our
Nobody was watching
generation
us.
too.
Yeah.
We were just, we went crazy. I mean, and the girls there were, I feel bad for them, but it was a little different time then because, you know, they were like, oh, break it up, stop. And then the guys were like, no, let them fight it out. And then,
there was all that.
We were good. You know,
I'll tell you,
came back and
got
back to work.
But the show, I think the show worked. I have these videos that someday I'll cut it together to try to make some kind of,
that'd be great.
Do the whole piece. I've been sort of saving it. And I'll just tell one more quick story just to give Jay an idea and audiences of the kind of supervision that we weren't under. John, if you remember this, we had to have a professor that was supposed to sort of be your mentor on it and then would grade you on your thesis. His name was Emmett Jacobs, and he was old school. He was the guy that taught voice, and once upon a time he had been something in the acting and theater community in the world in LA. But by the time we got there, he was just kind of an old rummy.
And he would get drunk like every day.
He would get drunk every day, and he would come in, and this is how unsupervised we were. In order not to go home and to escape, he would come into our rehearsals, and what would he do, John?
You know, I would blank on that because I acted with Emmett on my senior thesis.
Okay.
When he left.
He would fall asleep on the sofa
that
we were rehearsing with. He'd lay out on the sofa and fall asleep and start snoring.
That's right.
And we would rehearse the whole thing.
Well, yeah,
with
but
him still there.
Yeah, him right in the middle of the room, shaky.
But remember, Todd, you drank some of his. He had this,
that was
something.
That was Eric. I told that story I think before. Oh, that's a good story. That was Erica Baldy. We called her because she was from Baltimore. That was a different play.
That's right.
This is a good story. She was coughing on stage. She got into a fit of cough, and it was Sister Judith was directing that show.
Yeah,
and I think we told this story with when Mark was on the show. But Erica grabbed somebody goes, give her some water, and somebody grabbed Emmett's sports bottle because he was told no drinking if you're going to be in the show, and he goes no, and she went glug 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 and spit it out.
Straight vodka.
It's vodka. And it was supposed to be a water bottle, and it was
and it was insane because like I was in that show. I was the lead with Erica, right? And Emmett was the teacher, and Emmett was a really good actor.
Yeah,
but he was old school, and in order even he would drink like and there was one show where he got completely wasted, and and started acting, and then I was like, I still remember that because I was scared to out him.
Right.
And I just I don't know, it wasn't in me to be like, he's drunk. And I think it, you know, comes back from just a lot of things in my life. But anyway, Erica outed him so hard. Erica was like, he's wasted.
Oh, that's the kind of deal. That's the times we were in. Those were the 90s, and it was kind of the wild times. You couldn't do it today. Never get away with any of that stuff.
No. A lot of that stuff.
But now that I've got you here, Johnny, I want to find out a few things about you that I don't think I ever knew or understood or know. You're from Orange County.
I was a Navy brat.
Brat.
Yeah, so I moved every 2 years. I was actually born in Puerto Rico.
Right. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So you're Puerto Rican.
See.
Your dad was in Vietnam.
Correct. Yeah, he was in Vietnam. So I was in Ceiba, Puerto Rico, which was the military base on beautiful white sand beach.
So, and that's where he was had been stationed or based because he had a family, but he was fighting in Vietnam at the time?
Correct. Yeah. So he was away for most of my sister's, you know, first couple of years of my sister's life. And then,
older sister. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So then he came back, and then I was born in Puerto Rico. I don't know the time. I was born in 1970. I think he came back right around that time.
Yeah, the war was kind of ending in those days. I think officially kind of ended in 72, but Wow. Okay, I didn't know that. So after how long? When did you leave Puerto Rico and where'd you go?
In 1972, we came back to California, went to Camarillo. We kind of skipped around California bases, went to El Toro in Orange
Yep.
County, was how we ended up there,
Okay.
because El Toro had a Marine base at that time that my dad was stationed at.
Yeah.
And then we didn't have any, we had military monies, but so my grandparents were able to kind of like put it, help us be in Orange County so we could be around good schools because that was really important. So we weren't growing up on the base.
Right.
We spent a lot of time on the base, and then I went to New Jersey, up and down the California coast until we ended up in Orange County in high school, which was the first time I actually stayed in the same place for 4 years.
Okay. All right. And because you have family also in the in the Boston area.
Yeah, that was just because my sister married a Boston person when she
Oh,
was
I
out
see.
east.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. I
Hmm.
got you. Yeah. Yeah. So in high school in Orange County, because I'm from Oceanside, which is just not far down the road from you, and I also grew up next to Camp Pendleton Marine Corps Base, so
Hmm.
similar sort of. Well, we have that in common. Southern California, SoCal,
Yeah,
as
that's
opposed to
right.
NoCal, which is where you are at now.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but I remember, were you doing stuff in high school, acting wise?
Yes, I was. Yeah, I was very active. I was kind of a jock and a theater guy, and I was in a band too. So I
Yeah.
got into acting because I wanted to be a rock and roll singer, and so I wanted a musical theater. I went into the choir to strengthen my voice, and then
Right.
I really got the bug then, and then we started. My theater teacher was really ahead of his time, avant garde, and so he let us to sing like hair, and we were
Mm.
able to, and then we tried to do hair,
Oh,
but
that's
the
right. I remember.
principal shut us down.
Wouldn't let you get naked, right?
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, well, like he would all the,
All the drug
stuff.
use and the nudity. Yeah, it's too
Yeah,
much.
that
Too
got
much for
shot
a high
down.
school in Orange County.
Yeah, and then I think
Very
and then
conservative.
Jesus Christ Superstar we would sing a
Oh,
lot, and I loved and he had
yeah.
the original album, which I still can't find because when the movie came out, they pulled the
Oh.
rights out of that, and so the original Broadway
Oh.
version
Right.
is not available anymore. They took it off the shelf. So if you have that old album, find it, and
Send
yeah,
it to
find
me.
it. Yeah, please. So if you
Okay,
have a
that's
photograph.
now. Why did you come to Loyola later? Somehow, what were you doing before?
So I had my epiphany when I was on the road. I took a break from college and I went on the road and smoked a lot of weed, dropped a lot of acid, and drove around the United States to try to figure out who I was and when I was 20 years old, and I realized that I wanted to do acting and I came back, and then but I was like, I'm not going to go back to college, man. I told my parents I'm not going back to college, which was a very hard conversation.
Right.
And then I started doing professional acting training with camera work and more of a Meisner technique. And the Meisner teacher was very much like,
Mm.
don't go into theater. They're going to ruin you. They're going to make you acty, he kept saying. But I just felt like I really wanted to do that. Like I didn't, there was part of me that didn't believe him. And
Mm.
so we would do like camera training and very, very strict Meisner technique, just
Right.
like your shirt is white, your shirt is black, your shirt is white, your shirt is
Yeah.
black,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. And
Ugh.
then, but I did learn a nice foundation there. And then I was like, well, I want to go to theater. It's Loyola's perfect. It's in LA. I can still do my auditioning and everything else. And then college just became it kind of it took over all my time because I couldn't do both. And then I actually met you guys. I met Todd and just really became obsessed with the theater aspect. And then I ended up quitting the Meisner school, which was I was paying for and everything. And I and
Yeah.
I
Mm.
ended up quitting that and really becoming engaged in theater. And then with the whole Lou of becoming a professional actor and still trying to go on auditions and everything. And then when I don't know when I think I stuck
Yeah.
with it for a while, and
Yeah.
then I went on another trip, another little walkabout, and because the whole time since I was 13, I was putting on concerts and I was in a band and everything, and then
Yeah.
I went to Europe and I ended up realizing that my passion really was in concert promotion and concert coordinating.
Hmm.
And so I packed up my Toyota truck and my golden retriever, and
Mhm.
I went to follow in the footsteps of Bill Graham, who was the inventor of concert promotion. And so I packed up and I went up and I went to the Bill Graham Presents office, which nobody ever does. I just walked in and I'm like, I need a job. And they're like, well, we'll put you in the back doing archive and all the, the beautiful Bill Graham posters and all those. I
Yeah.
don't know if you know all that
Yeah.
original artwork. I was in charge of keeping that organized and keeping it archived, which was
Huh.
really, really cool.
Yeah.
And from there, I just ended up just kept with it. And finally, became a uh, San Francisco
Sunset Promotions.
Sunset Promotions, and then basically what happened in my career is I was in it over 10 or 15 years, and then I was a rowdy promoter putting on concerts in the city, tired of getting shut down, and we kept getting shut down once the tech boom happened. Um,
Yeah.
we were getting shut down, and so we went out and we were getting shut down for noise and we're getting shut down for booze, and I was getting tired of it. We were on the front page of of a paper. We were high press for getting shut down again, these beautiful concerts. And
Mm.
that was the NIMBY. I don't know if you get, not in my backyard. That was one of the
Right.
first phrases that was coined. I don't know if it's because of us, but that was what had happened. And so
Right.
my partner and I were like, well, screw this. So we went out and we bought a bunch of headphones.
Yeah.
And Gavin Newsom was mayor at the time, and I had a direct contact with him because of all the controversy, because we were the
Right.
cool kids we were against the machine,
The
right? And so,
authority. Yeah. Again.
yeah,
Yet again. Yeah.
yet again. And so I'm like, I go, hey, Gavin, like, I got 500, I got 1,000 headphones, and I'm not going to do booze.
Right.
And I go, what do you think of that? And he goes, what I think of that? He goes, I'll give you the keys to the city if you could do that for me. I said, okay, cool. I want Ocean Beach, which is nobody
Right.
does shows in Ocean Beach history. And he goes, all right. And so
Nice.
that became the birth of the silent disco movement.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so yeah, I'm the
These are
godfather of the silent disco.
Yeah, he's the Godfather. Yeah, these are the kind of headphones that you put on. They're kind of they're not Bluetoothed, I guess, at that time, but
RF, yeah, they're still
RF.
RF.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, they're huge. My friend group in New York City, I'm trying to remember the name. There's a very specific name. It's a thing. It's really,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that's really big. That's a,
Yeah. So we're Hush. So I started Hush Concerts, and the New York guy is what's his name? But he yeah, that was one of my proteges. So and it was cool. We were supportive of a lot of people that, we just basically got in a van with a trailer full of headphones and started touring the country. And it was really fun to watch people again. And of course, when we went to Ocean Beach, we brought in the sound gear, and we were Burning Man. So we brought a bunch of our buses. Like we were, at that time, we would
wow.
bring a party. Like
Yeah.
I was at that point in my life, I was dictating the culture of San Francisco. We'd have massive parties, and I was at that time cool. And
Yeah. We don't
um
know what
a-
happened since, but
I don't know what happened. I became a dad, and then Lois took all my
took all the
coolness.
cool off you.
All the
But
juju.
yeah, and so we would set up, and we would have all these DJ road cases and everything else. And the whole neighborhood would come down and be like, "What are you guys doing here? We don't have concerts at Ocean Beach." And we're like, "Yeah, well, we're doing a silent concert." And they're like, "You smart acts. Like, what are you talking about?" And we're like, "No, we have like 2,000 headphones in these boxes." And they didn't believe us. And they would yell at us and everything. And then they would walk away, and then they come back. And sure enough, there's
Everybody's
all these people on the beach and the
quietly.
sunset. We had,
Yeah.
yeah. And since then, and we've worked with everybody, but yeah, that was part of my claim to fame. But I went to be a really cool promoter, but then I ended up being like the purveyor of thousands of Chinese headphones. And we went to China, we designed had our own headphones, and they stole our headphone idea and sold it back to us. Like, with
Like
then,
the
they
Chinese
laughed
do.
at our,
Yeah.
yep,
Like any corporation.
yep, they laughed at our NDA, and
Right.
we gave them, yeah. But
You
anyway, that
turned
was like
all
my,
that technology over to them.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm
That's
gonna.
legendary.
Yeah, it's totally legend. John is a legend, and I'll explain even further because I want you, Jay, and audiences to understand who we're dealing with here. One of the things was I'll go way back. John used to do something in that same black box that we just showed you where we did Mad Dog Blues. John would he started throwing a party, well, an evening called Buddha's Bathtub,
Buddha's bathtub and Buddha's bathtub and Buddha's bathtub, right? And
Buddha's
bathtub and
bathtub.
coffee house, right? Or no?
Whatever. You're ruining my story.
Sorry.
Do you mind if I tell it for a change? I mean, we've been listening to you. You don't even know the name of your own thing. Buddha's bathtub. And I mean, it was a beautiful event. Like, holy crap. You can't imagine. We had art on the walls. That artists would come in, and because it was black box, we could do chalk and black light kind of art on the walls and paint back over it later. He had canvases. I remember him being very meticulous about one very long canvas that he was being precious about. I came in to do some of my art, and he was like, that's a good canvas. I don't think. And then I did something amazing, and he was like, oh, okay. It's good, which I had for a long time. He won't remember. I can show you pictures. We had poetry in there. We had short theater pieces. We had music. We had, you name it. I did stand-up comedy. You name it. If it was artistic, it was an evening of, which also included a specific kind of brownie type dessert treat that if you took the green one, you were in for a treat.
Right.
If you took a red one,
load you up.
Yeah, we get loaded up on brownies, and you had to
about the secret brownies.
The secret brownies, which we got in a little bit of trouble for. Got out to some of the Nancy pansies in there, that the goody two shoes that wanted to ruin it. But I'm talking about like epic events, even if you weren't like just little kids in college, like that. We did one. You did one. I helped you along with others, but I think we did one or two a year for a few years. John would also have parties, epic house parties. We talked to Amber about this recently, but we'll continue with that conversation because John, this podcast is coming out before Amber's, but John would do a thing, and I'm not giving away secrets, but John would do a classic thing. He would grow his own weed in the closet. And then he would brew all his own beer, and then he called it a harvest party. And he'd kind of go around and go, "Hey man, I'm having a harvest party."
Then I dress in overalls.
This Saturday, yeah, the little Farmer John, and once you had gone to one, you were like, "Oh yeah, time." And you walk into the harvest party, and it would be a bowl of weed, marijuana. This back in days when it was illegal in California. All the paraphernalia you needed to smoke it or do whatever you want with it. Brownies and treats that were made from all the accoutrements. And then you'd go to the fridge and open it up, and there would be 100 homemade, handcrafted IPA, before that term even existed, beers in the fridge. So you can imagine the kind of parties. So and then when he moved up to San Francisco, he would have these epic sunset parties that almost broke the floor would sag. And I never missed one of those. So I would drive up myself with my dog and my friends and LA friends. We'd all go up for a sunset party, not to be missed. You remember I was modeling back in those days, and I would get, they would fly me up. Mervyn's would fly me up to do a modeling shoot. And then I had this open-ended ticket, which I figured out. So you would come to the airport and pick me up. We would drive back to somewhere, maybe have lunch or something like that, do a couple errands, and go back to your house and start setting up for sunset party, Mardi Gras party, and stuff like that. And I remember the first time I called the airline, I was like, "Can I change this ticket?" She goes, "You have an open-ended ticket, actually. You can just walk on any flight going back to LA anytime you want." And I go, "What if it's full?" She goes, "No, it's a completely." We would bump somebody.
Wow.
Yeah. So I not only did I have pre 9/11. Yeah, this is the 90s. Not only did I have a free ticket, but I got paid to go up. So I'd go up to San Francisco, work the job, then call John and be like, "All right, I'm done. Come get me." And he'd come on his motorcycle or the truck, and we'd go back. I mean, you can't. And he was doing promotions with the Brass Monkey.
Brass Monkey Brass Band, yeah, because those parties got too big, and then I was like, "Man, I need a club," and so that was obviously the next step, and then we would, then I started doing club parties, and then that ended up being like Buddha's bathtub. I think that like we're like
preliminary
yeah, but
training.
the beautiful thing about that and the college experience was that you did it for the art, you know,
Yeah.
and it wasn't about the money, it wasn't about any of that. It was just about like just pure art. And Buddhist Baptist was like, hey man, whatever you got, just bring it, you know. And
Right.
we had like, you know, Brian, who when it was a piano player, he ended up being the musical director for Black Eyed Peas. I mean, we had some
Oh,
heavy
Right.
duty, yeah, heavy duty people that came in there, but that was like I don't want to say it was at the end of the innocence, but that was like the time that I was like, I look back and I'm like, wow, that's when I was just an artist, you know,
Yeah.
and I was playing and performing a lot. And that was were just
It
some of
was
the best times of my
pure.
life.
It really was pure art. Everything we were doing was incredible. I feel,
Yeah.
and sort of it flavored, it structured the future of our lives
Hmm.
in the best possible way. And even
Yeah.
if you've stopped acting at this point uh, and not doing it currently, but that background in theater and performance has served you,
Oh
obviously.
yeah. Well, Buddhist Bata, I mean, just to real quick is that,
Hmm.
you know, then the Castro Halloween went away. That was the big San Francisco gay event that was just an epic, epic event. And then so we ended up taking that idea and taking the crowd, I should say, and building up what's called Ghost Ship Halloween, and that is still going on, but it was ended up being growing to 12,000 people 2 nights, each night 12,000 people,
Wow.
Jesus.
and
Yeah.
oh man, just epic. We had Moby. I mean, we had everybody play that thing. And but that was another one that was like my favorite show because it was just pure art. And we had the Thunderdome that was something in Burning Man that they really actually built a Thunderdome. And it was and
Right.
then they put these bungees on the people. And so you have like you know, and everybody was in epic costumes. So you'd have like an epic fights, like there'd be Snow White against like Dopey, you know.
Right.
But I can go on about that. But yeah, but that's where Buddhist bathtub went
Yeah.
was these
That's why
massive parties.
I wanted to kind of break down Buddha's bathtub, because for me, watching you after that, I went off to Europe and lived, but I was watching from afar as you grew and grew in this thing. And North Beach Jazz Fest you were doing, which
Mhm.
was huge. And
Yeah.
John, tell us about that real quick.
Well, North Beach Jazz Fest was a festival that we took over North Beach, San Francisco, which is like one of the you know first parts of San Francisco on Grant Avenue, and we ended up having a little spot Patrick Graham, Washington Square Park, and we put a stage down,
Mm.
and then as we started going into kind of overdrive, that was when we started booking like major acts, and we'd have like 5,000 people in the park just going, you know, and then we take
I was at a
over
couple of those.
yeah, every coffee house, club, and mind you, North Beach is one of the few places in the world that has 400 liquor licenses within like a teeny section, right? So
Right.
there's so every club would have something going on, and that is actually why. And then bunch of and that's actually North Beach Jazz Fest was the first to take the fall for all the festivals in San Francisco, and that's when we became kind of the poster child for like we can't put up with these NIMBYs, and that actually became that was the birth of the silent disco movement because
Right.
we got you know but we like during that time that was we had the keys to the city that time. It was pretty cool. We could do anything we
I
wanted. We had late
remember.
night parties. It's crazy.
Yeah, I remember Facebook coming out, or kind of the social, and John posting pictures of himself with Parliament and all these kind of Wynton Marsalis. I don't know, just every time he had all these amazing
James
new,
Brown. I worked with James
James Brown,
Brown.
right?
Aretha
Yeah,
Franklin.
Wow.
I got
incredible.
yelled at by Aretha Franklin in front of 2,500 people and my mom. That was fun because I forgot to turn off the air conditioning, and
Ah.
she got on stage, and I was in a suit and everything, and she's like, it's like, oh, my moment has come. I'm doing a show with Aretha Franklin. Walks out on stage and she goes, I want to know who the promoter is for this event. And I'm thinking,
Oh my
oh
God,
man, she's
she's
gonna
gonna.
thank me. This is my moment. Like I'm the queen of soul. And she's like, and then my mom's looking at me all proud, and she's like, well, that promoter did not read the contract, and he did not turn off the air conditioner, which is going to hurt my vocal cords. So I'm about to walk off the stage if this promoter doesn't get his act together. So I had to get up in my suit, walk onto the stage, look for the
Apologize.
union guy that had the thermostat, you
Right.
know. Anyway, never forgive Aretha for that, man. The moments you get to deal with,
Yeah, it's a thankless job that you
Ugh.
took on for yourself. I remember watching you. I would come and visit still, and come to San Francisco, and then if you visited John, he always had a party, so you could go up any weekend and be sure to have a party that you're going to go to, and I would tag along with John and watch him get his ass kicked by the crowds and the artists and everybody else.
Well, that was the last time we hung out, remember? Because I had some of my Orange County friends that were super conservative and kind of weird, and Todd was there, and of course we had to endure like, a lot of my friends that went to high school with just turned around and became like not the nicest people, like kind of
Hmm.
not very nice. And I didn't really know
Mm.
at that time. I haven't seen him in years, and then of course I had Todd as my lens, and then of course
I
Todd
told you.
decided to like kind of invent like a new character of himself, and we just went along with it. But anyway, I looked at Todd. I'm like, let's just take these guys to a real club. And so we went down like deep, and we went in the basement where it was just like, and that remember the look on their face. They're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh
This is not our scene.
yeah, this is my world now.
Yeah. I never liked some of those guys. They were the Silicon Valley guys. I remember going up there once. They were all celebrating because they were millionaires. We were all millionaires. And then 6 months later, they had lost it all because it was the bubble had burst, the tech bubble. And then they were all going, we're all going back to grad school.
Yeah.
They didn't know what to do with
Yeah.
themselves because they had lost.
Yeah.
They thought they were millionaires for a minute, and it was kind of ugly. But
Yeah, they came up and messed up San Francisco and then left,
yeah. I remember you pointing out you were in a rent-controlled place, and it was like a 3-bedroom place. That we just saw and then you pointed to the place across the street, and you were like, "It's the exact same place I have, and they want $6,500 a month for it, or something like that." And I was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god!" And I was like, "What are you paying?" He's like, "I'm paying 12 or whatever it was."
Yeah, that's a good memory. We were paying 1,200 for a huge 3-bedroom apartment with an
Right.
ocean view,
Yeah.
and then they
The
wanted
Google,
to
you're
get
like
me out.
Google guys, but yeah, they wanted to get you out. What was the
Yeah.
reason for leaving San Francisco in total then? Just family?
We actually took a gap year because it just seemed cool to do. I was taking care of my mom and my grandmother, and then my grandmother passed away, and then my mom, and then we were going to move into this apartment together, and I was going to take care of my mom and everything. And my mom was like 75 years old. She's like, peace, moving to San Diego, got a boyfriend, going sailing, bye. Or
Wow.
like, she's like, move my stuff. And after the dust settled, my wife and I are like, well, we don't
What are
have to
we
really
here?
be here right now.
Right.
And so we ended up taking a year off, going out to the country. And then we just started going like, what are we going back for? And then we
Hmm.
ended up just staying. We never went back to the city. And then COVID hit, and we were in a really good place for all that. But yeah,
Right.
it
Perfect.
wasn't really a decision. I think the decision just kind of made itself. I think the
Yeah.
universe just said like, you're
Yeah.
going here now, and now we just stayed here.
Can I ask you a little bit about, I just want to get a sense, again, so people listening, the kind of balance between Aimee as, I would say, a professional, maybe part-time actor, full-time mom, and then you as you became an entrepreneur essentially pretty early, and you've
Mhm.
always been building one business off the other. I remember you had a pizza place for a while, and you've always kind of had your hand in different and developing very successful businesses, as difficult as they might be to manage, some of them. Ambitious, I guess, is the word. But what's it like to be an entrepreneur, artist yourself, performer yourself, but now kind of businessman, and then supporting also your wife's ambitions, Aimee, who we've already been introduced to and spoke to, and her goals, knowing, let's say, in essence, that you have no real steady stream or certain stream of income, right? The pressures involved there, the sort of uncertainty of it all, and with kids and all that. How can you remark upon
Well,
that for audiences?
it's not for the faint of heart.
Mm.
I think I feel whether I put this up, probably just put this on myself, but I feel a little bit responsible for every day.
Mm,
I had a lot of good luck as an entrepreneur. I took a lot of risks. I was a music promoter for a while, and COVID really tested that because
Mm.
right.
I was the guy that puts headphones on people's heads, germs to germs, and so Hush concerts for a little while. The headphone company just completely lawn darted, and I was done. Like I had brought it to a concert level. I brought it to the conference level. I was doing Oracle. I was working with all the tech guys, and at the end of the day, I was tired of it. I was tired of that business. I was doing about four. I don't know. I was doing about 400 events a year,
Right.
and that's a lot. And you're talking everyone's got to have be advanced, everything's got to be, everything's got to have staff and everything else. So and then COVID was trying, I'll be honest with you, like it was very, very hard
Mm,
to go in between companies. I went over I'm in cannabis, and that transition from what I did have my moments where I was like, man, my goose is finally cooked. I've finally taken a risk, and I'm gonna lose everything, and you have to dig deep. You have to understand that you're not completely in control. Like the universe is in control.
right.
And if you believe that, you have to understand that you're on the journey, but you still have to wake up. You got to dust yourself off, and you got to work hard every day. But there are times, I had to really dig deep during this last like 5 years have been kind of up and down, and where I'm back on the up. But yeah, as an entrepreneur, got it's it's a very different lifestyle, and one that's not for the faint of heart. But I also know that there's a lot of people that are accountants that look around. I see people with the air quote steady job get laid off all the time,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I can't work for anybody. I've never done a 9 to 5 my whole life. It's just not me.
Mm,
So I still do events. I literally last night just got off of TED AI. I produced TED Talks,
yeah.
so I
Nice.
still have my that's my one event that I kept, and I worked with more robots than humans this year, which was really, really cool.
Mm,
Um,
Mm.
but yeah, to answer your question, Todd, it's like I think it's just you just got to keep going, and you
yeah.
got to keep going with up and downs. You got to believe in yourself, and fortunately, I have like a really trusting wife that's also in the arts. It's also a risk taker. My family is very supportive of me, and they've always just known that like, yeah, he's gonna land on his feet. Might
Yeah.
be, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, whatever comes along is just gonna roll with the punches, as it were,
yeah.
or surf the wave. You're also a surfer, so you get that analogy.
I got that one.
You
Yeah,
got that one, yeah.
yeah,
That's life. It's like surfing is an analogy for life.
yeah.
And the TED Talks, last thing we'll talk about, but I mean, how does that's obviously your performance background has served you throughout. Um, you're doing cannabis as well, which is legal, by the way, in California. So we're not talking about dirty deeds
I,
for the.
I make meth too, but oh,
Oh God! Here comes the FBI. Now you've done it. Bathtub
I thought at 53 it'd be great to do just try meth.
Buddha's
I think
bathtub meth.
now that I got my
Yeah.
family all set, I might as well just get
Yeah.
a different
I
addiction.
don't know if you
Sure,
really wanted to say that,
Just do
especially
math.
with the business you have in place. But anyway, that's a joke for anybody who's listening.
it's a joke. It's a
Uh,
joke.
it's a joke. So TED Talks,
Done.
though, that's kind of interesting. Like how and why?
Well, I was at Ghost Ship, which was a our big event, and that was our
Halloween. Back on our
Ghost Ship
Halloween theme.
Ghost Ship Halloween, and we had somebody from TEDx, which is kind of the sister of TED. It's like the franchise version of
Mm-hmm.
TEDx come to me and say, "Hey, I want to do my TED Talks right here," and I'm like, "No, you don't." He's like, "Why don't you?" And why
Why
shouldn't
don't
I?
I?
I'm like, because why don't I? Thanks for the correction
Yeah.
there. And
Yes.
I said because this is, you know, not you. Like we're not. This is not a tech event. Like, and this was kind of like back to my disdain for the tech industry. And I'm like, no, man, like you can't have our venue. And he's like, so they kept throwing money at us. And at the end of the day, we kind of sold our soul to the devil in a way, and had a TEDx event, which ended up being a big mistake because it wasn't the arena for it. And person was that I worked with at that time, not the person I work with now, wasn't professional and ended up being a total mistake. Because I was just like, dude, like we're not you, man. Like this is a venue for like artists and burners and everything else. Like this is not a tech event. And so anyway,
Right.
the guy talked me into it. So that's how I got into it. I swore I would never do it again. And then another producer came along and found me and said, "Hey, can we do this again?" And I said, "Nah, I'm not want to do it." So she's like, "Hey, can we just have some coffee and talk about this?" And I said, "All right, you're buying." but
Right.
um, but she sat myself and Joel, my partner, down, and I was very captivated by this woman's vision. I was very captivated by who she was, and I said, "Okay, look, I'll give it a try." And so she brought me in, and we did it at the Herbst Theater, which is an old opera house in San Francisco, beautiful historic opera house, and the event was spectacular. This was back in 2016,
Mm.
and she was amazing to work with. So I stuck with it, and then we took a hiatus during COVID, and when we came back, because we did three events, and we were in San Francisco, and the events went very well. TED, so that's the main TED Talks, said, "Hey, we're now going to make you a TED," which is a very big deal because now
Mm.
you're on the international stage, and
Mm.
and so not only that, but we're going to be TED AI. And the producer who I talked about, her name's Sam de Brouwer. She's from Belgium, and very, very amazing woman. She invented Doc AI, and so she was one of the first
Mm.
people who was in AI, and of course, she crushed it, during COVID because she had Doc AI, which you turn on your computer and you say, "Doctor, I need this," and the Doc
Right.
AI goes, "I will give you this." So is, you know, she is one of the main her and her husband were the main inventors of AI and on the forefront of it. Um, so she called us and said, "Hey, we're now TED." And so we had to like, okay, now we had to up our game. And so last year we were TED, this year we're TED, and every year we get to see the new what's coming on the forefront with AI. We had Reid Hoffman this last couple of years, who invented LinkedIn and
Mhm.
Oh.
Wow.
heavy duty hitters. And then
Yeah.
this was the year of the robot, where we had a lot of the LLM robots, which I just learned what that acronym is, which means basically the robot goes on stage and talks with a human and interacts in real time. It's not scripted. It's actually the robot figured out what you're saying and dancing with you and doing everything. And so this is the only event I stuck with because um, I love this curator. She's a visionary. I like to kind of selfishly keep my foot in the game, kind of keep my chops going. And it's very challenging because you're not only producing a show, but you're also producing a live show. So it's a multiple camera shoot. There's boom mics. I mean, everything's got to be spot on, and
Mm,
it's in 8-minute increments and turnovers.
right.
So it's super challenging. It keeps my tools sharp. It kind of keeps me in the game. Gets me back in San Francisco. Gets to see my old friends, and I get to work production again.
Yeah. Amazing.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
The whole world.
The raconteur, John Miles. Truly a raconteur. Well, man, this is for you. Cheers. I mean, you're nothing but success. You've always exuded success and brilliance. I've always had a high regard for you, man. A lot of respect.
Oh, man, a lot of love for you guys, and especially you, Todd. Like you've
I would
given
hope
me a
so,
lot.
because you've known Jay for like an hour.
I
Yeah.
way
Absolutely.
back in past lives, I'm sure. I feel like I know Jay because it's like we're fans of the show, so I listen to you guys
All
a
right.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were gonna say something about me. I'm sorry I interrupted. I've given you a
Oh, I
lot.
was yeah. You've given me a lot in my life, man. Like
Oh,
like you set a really a high bar, as an actor. And going in, and it's really funny because I told um Lois's director right now that we did Mad Dog Blues, and he was just like, "You what? You did Mad Dog Blues, dude?" Like, there's one thing to do Sam Shepard, but to do
yeah.
Mad Dog Blues. But anyway, yeah, you set the bar really high for me, man. Like you showed me that you can rehearse for 13 hours straight. And I know it sounds joking, but it's like that was pushing ourselves. We pushed ourselves till we to the point of exhaustion,
Yeah.
and that was really cool. And just to be keeping in touch with you and watch, and I got to be honest, man, it is exciting. When all of a sudden my YouTube comes up and you're like doing something crazy in some weird scene and have like a robot mom that you're about to kill or something. I'm like, what the hell? But anyway, it's really neat to see that, you're one of my few friends, along with, that stuck with it, because
Right.
so many of us, just didn't have the brass to stick with this, industry, which is, you got to have a certain set of brass to do this, man, because it's like you're just rejection. You get out there and it's like, a lot of stuff. But like, I do think that acting is, I remember an interview with Harrison Ford, and when he was asked like, why did you go from being an actor from a carpenter? And he's just like, oh, because you can just do anything. You can be anything you want with acting, and I hope that's where Lois might take this, because Lois is like, not only handing the baton to her, but she's next level, man. Like that kid's just gonna go. I don't know where the hell she's gonna go, but I know
Mm,
acting's gonna be her foundation, because you could be anything you want to be with acting,
yeah.
And
That's
props
great.
to you guys for staying with it. I'm so proud of my wife for staying with it too. Like I gotta say, like I became very, like, I don't know if I had it, to do it.
Well, I'm going to say this. You said it yourself. You can go anywhere with it. You can be anything with it. And you decided to be all the things you've become using that as the background. And that's why, we love hearing these kind of stories because, as I always say, once an actor, always an actor. You don't get out.
But I will say that the foundation that acting gave me, everything from using my voice, everything from finding different characters, even down
Mm-hmm.
to I'll be honest, like, oh, it's time to yell at
Right.
the voice the portalet guy for not bringing me my portalets, right? I'll stop and be like, "What character do I wanna get in right
Yeah.
now? Oh, I'm gonna be the mad guy," you know?
Yeah.
These days, you can't yell as much, I'll be honest, like, like, you spongy millennials, like, you guys can't take, you'll cave, so you have to be smarter, you have to outsmart the Gen Z and the millennials, and
Yeah.
because they're just so sensitive, Like, the day that, you and I are on stage, like, you and I literally, you told us the story about us getting in a fight. We were cool after that, man. Like, we were more than cool. We were like, that solidified our friendship. We were
Yeah.
like, "Okay, dude," like,
That's the moment. Yeah.
yeah,
When we
and I don't
when
know
we
if you could do
became
that.
brothers, we went
I don't
from
know if
friends
you
to
you could
brothers.
you and Jay could get in a fist fight. I think Jay might get a little bummed.
I don't know. I got in fistfights when I was a kid, but I would hate the person after that. Actually, I would never talk to them again. I got in fistfights, but they were
Mhm,
not because I was brothers with them. It was
mhm.
like I it it was because it was bad, and
Yeah,
I was not going like where it's done.
yeah. I'm a
So
fight
we did
taker
not
rubber.
the fight the vibe after the fights was not a thing. We were not brothers.
Mhm.
But I understand, John, that what you say. It's this kind of ability that is developed from this background where you can face every challenge that life has to give, particularly if you're out there in the world and you have to deal with a lot of complex issues that come up very quickly and require you to be able to shift and morph into a certain amount of characters. It doesn't always have to be the shouty, angry guy, but at this moment you have to deal with Aretha Franklin yelling at you. At this moment, you got to deal with somebody messing something else up, or there's especially when you're producing, there's a constant. So having that kind of access to uh, a range of emotional beings that you can pull off the shelf and plug into that situation. Very, very helpful. And
Absolutely.
I've also been able to manage with the
Well, I
things I
also
do.
think the other part of that is like walking on the stage, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
such a metaphor for life. And everybody goes like, "Oh, well, you're an actor, you could do it." Like, no, we're terrified, but well, you know what? We're going to put one foot in front of the other, and we're
Right.
going to walk on stage. And the stage lights are going to go on, and either you're going to do a swan dive or you're going to face plant at the bottom of the pool, right? And I think that's something that people don't understand. It's like, as actors, like, life is a stage, man. It's like, if you're if you're getting into an altercation, like, or you're having a hard time or whatever, if you pay attention to what your body's doing, you start taking your breath, that's all
Mm.
acting work.
Hmm.
You can be present. But that's the thing that I don't think people understand is that, oh, you're an actor, man, you could do that. Like, no, no, no. We're just the guys that we'll put one foot in front of the other
Yeah,
and go out on that stage. We don't have anything else special about that.
No, just some training and experience, but we're just as terrified of
And
falling flat
guts.
on our face, as anybody
And
else.
guts.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
courage that comes from just knowing that it's okay to fail. That's the other thing.
That's a good point too. Exactly.
Thank you. That's kind of what I do. I make good points.
Oh.
John Miles, man, what a pleasure, buddy. Love you.
Thanks so much for having me on. I love you too, bud. Thanks. So good to see
great
you.
to talk to Lois as
Really great
well.
having you
We
too.
want to thank
Really
both of
great.
you. Yeah. There you go.
She's off to school. No,
That's your send off.
thank you.
We'll
Thank you,
catch
buddy.
up. All right, let's wrap it up. We went quite a long time. What do you think, Jay?
Oh, wow. I have a lot of thoughts. I'm very cerebral right now. So
Yeah, I can see you were soaking it in.
I was, yeah. So I was trying to think, God, Todd's gonna ask me what I think, and I'm not gonna know what to say.
It's
So
all right. You don't have to
here's
have.
that.
Okay. Well, no, soak it in. I think audiences will as well.
Yeah.
John is a unique figure in the world. His family is unique. He's a special person to me. I always think about him, even though we're a long way away and we haven't seen each other for years. But he's kind of always lingering in the back of my mind just because of.
Yeah, you two are kindred spirits.
Yeah.
You have a lot of similarities. They're entrepreneur. You guys grew up in the same era. I mean, I'm not saying
Right.
that you're the same generation now, and I'm like, oh yeah, they are. They have the same. Yeah, there's the same culture, the same upbringing, the same attitude. Not the same, but you know what I mean.
Similar, yeah, and sensitive humor.
Yeah.
I remember I'll tell you this story and then we'll let you go. The first thing he kind of did to me at one point, he comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, you see that guy over there?" And his name was Joel Janacek. Janacek. And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "He's got a necklace on around his neck there." And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Go up to him and just like grab his necklace and go, 'Oh, that's a really pretty necklace.' And then pretend like you're gonna," because John did that. I was wearing a necklace once. John did that to me. He comes up to me and he goes, "Hey man, that's a really good looking necklace." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." And he kind of takes it in his hand and then he leans in as if he's going for a kiss. And he was like, and doing the kind of closed eye, like, And I was like, and I started laughing my ass off because I thought it was hysterical. And as soon as he saw me do that, he was like, "Oh, okay, this guy, he and I, we're kindred spirits." And then anytime he wanted to introduce me to somebody who was also a kindred spirit, he'd go do that thing to Joel. Go do the necklace thing. And I go, "Who, that guy?" And he go, "Yeah, yeah." And I go, "Hey, man, nice to meet you. I'm Todd." "Oh, nice to meet you." I go, "Nice necklace, dude." "Oh, thanks." And then go in and you look at the necklace. You hold it. Can I see it? And look up close. And then you kind of lean in like you're going for a kiss. That was the kind of stuff we would do. And John also came to me senior year, last day of school, and he goes, "Hey, I need your help with something." And I go, "Yeah." And we go, and he goes, "I'm gonna go over to the library," and he goes, and he strips down naked and he goes, "Hold my clothes." And I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm gonna streak through the library." And then he shot off like a rocket naked through the entire like 3-floored library while I stood outside holding his clothes going, "You're doing what?" And he's like, "Woo!" And he takes off through the library, streaking. Like streaking. You know what streaking is? That's something, that's stuff they used to do in the 60s. And he's running naked through the library. And then he comes running out. And I'm thinking, man, I should take off with his clothes because what would he do? And he meet me by the back door. And I was by the back door at that point. He comes busting out. Oh, my God, that was so fun. So that's John Miles, ladies and gentlemen, my good friend.
Wow.
Thank you, Lois. Thank you, John.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jay. And thank you, audiences, for an extra special Halloween episode of the Offstage Acting Podcast. We are grateful to have you with us. Where's our costumes? Where's that?
So grateful to have you with us.
So grateful. If you're out there trick-or-treating this year, be safe, be well, don't eat too much candy. It'll give you a tummy ache.
And don't do meth.
Don't do meth. And we'll see you next time on the Offstage Acting Podcast. Happy Halloween. It was
God,
great.
that streaking story, man. I can't believe I totally forgot about that. I had to get that done though. That was something that had to be done before I graduated. I don't know what it was. And Of course, you're my accomplice.
Yeah. I didn't know. You grabbed me and you're like, hey, man, I need you to help me with something.
Like it was all serious.